Okay, here we go.
Yeah, welcome back. It's nice that you took the time. Pretty much everyone from yesterday joined, so welcome. I'm still sitting in the cold. And we are in first 19 of the 37 practices, looking at our relationship to attachment. And yesterday we talked a bit about the problems and struggle with joy and delight, wonderment, pleasure. But also we started to ask the question, can we transform the energy of desire, of attachment, into something which becomes an ally on our path of awakening? And today we are going to look at the verse 19. And I already mentioned that in addition to the practice we did yesterday, Ken McLeod suggests to add to that exploration of pleasure the self-inquiry question of what or who is aware. And in our first meditation, I would like to, towards the end, to bring this question into our exploration. And what is important with this self-inquiry question of what is aware or who is aware is that we are not looking for an answer, conceptual answer. It is a question which invites us into a certain kind of looking, a certain kind of curiosity. So we ask the question, and one can ask this question at any moment, also now. So now you are listening to my voice, or you're looking at the screen, you're aware of your surroundings. So that is the objects of awareness, what you feel, what you think, what you hear, the sensations of your body, the breath. All these are objects of awareness. And that's where we are mainly curious about. So that's what we usually engage with. And at one point, and that is true for any kind of spiritual tradition, at one point, either naturally or because you get instructions, you become curious about that which is aware. There is that which you are aware of. Yeah, that's obvious. That's in the foreground of our experience right now. But there is also something mysterious there, and that is that which is aware. That which has the capacity of knowing, that which has the capacity of presence. And this is the Holy Grail in all spiritual traditions, all mystic traditions. Turning our attention towards consciousness itself, to that which is aware. The challenge here is we can't think about it. We can't put it into words. It is something very subtle something the conceptual mind can't grasp. So towards the end of our first meditation, when I lead into a self-inquiry and it doesn't make sense to you and you don't know where to look and how to look, just take it easy. So this takes some time. And one can't force it. We need patience there. And the willingness to stay in that space of what are they talking about? Nature of mind, knowingness, consciousness itself, awareness itself. What do they mean with that? What are these words pointing to? A lot of the practice exploring the nature of mind consists of a certain kind of patience and staying with that question and just hanging around and continue to create the conditions so that a shift might happen. And sometimes, and we don't know when this shift will happen. Sometimes it takes just a few moments. So it doesn't depend on your amount of practice you have done. And sometimes it takes months or years. And then suddenly an instruction of, or a pointer like consciousness itself, awareness itself, suddenly it makes sense. But nobody knows when it's going to happen. So if I ask that question, you might get frustrated by it or confused. So that might happen. Or maybe you have a sense of what is pointed to. So let's take our seat in our temple here with an appreciation that we are together as a Sangha, spreading a wide area from New York and other places, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Sweden. So, as always, just take some time to adjust your posture. If you like, you can close your eyes. If you keep your eyes open, your gaze is relaxed. There's a certain dignity in your posture, taking your space, taking your place. And then you allow this shift to happen from the head into the body. Just noticing your posture and how the chair or the floor carries you. Then you start to notice what you bring with you into this moment. How is the inner weather? So we gravitate together to present moment awareness. And maybe your attention naturally goes to your belly or your hands. And the flow of the in and out breath can support you in being here in the present moment. Not concentrating on the breath, but making it part of this little journey from a thought-based way of being to presence. Maybe you want to breathe a little deeper. And sliding with the in-breaths into the trunk of your body. And then with the out-breath, softening, opening. So the energies in your body can flow where they want to flow. There's the sounds of your surroundings. And try to be less interested in the streams of thoughts, the mental images and the inner dialogue. How does it feel to be here in this moment? Exactly where you are and in this meeting. And thoughts are recognized as thoughts. It's fine that they are there. You just let them go. The returning. Could you allow yourself to find a place of rest? in the midst of your experience by allowing this moment to be what it is. Bring yourself along. Returning and resting. There's nothing you need to add to this moment. And if there's something in the felt sense of your body which comes to the foreground, you allow that to happen. Breathing with it. Then I would like to remind you that whatever you experience right now is an appearance within awareness, within consciousness, within mind. The sensations in your body, the sensations of the breath, they are appearances within mind. Your feelings, sounds, they are appearances within mind, within consciousness, within awareness. And we're breathing together. And in this space, the space of awareness, we invite the presence of the Buddha. We invite the presence of the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, or others, Jesus, Tara, or other mentors, male and female, Buddhist or non-Buddhist, who embody loving kindness for you, inner freedom. So we are sitting in this space with the confidence that awake awareness, essence love, is already here. So allow the space within your sitting to be infused by the light or the stillness of love, of kindness, the loving gaze. Really as a group together entering the temple where we are safe, where we are seen, where we are welcomed as we are. So that you can even relax deeper because you feel safe. As if you're sitting in the sun, bathing with the whole body from the toes to the top of your head. And within this space, you allow sensations and thoughts and feelings to come and go. And returning, resting. Opening. The body like a mountain, the heart like the sky. So the objects of awareness, the content, that's obvious. Sem is the Tibetan word for that. Sounds, sensations, feelings, the breath, thoughts, the sensations of the body, the sense of I, all of what you're aware of. And notice how that is moving and changing and flowing. It's like a stream or clouds, waves coming and going. And more you relax into that, more you find a yes to how this moment is, less you struggle, less you suffer. How deep is your yes in this moment? Yes, this is how it is. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is what I hear. It is what it is. It can't be different because it is connected with everything else. Whatever happened and whatever is happening. But isn't there also something else? Something which is bigger than all of this. Some people call it presence or awareness, spaciousness, vastness, beingness. Trust your intuition. Yes, there's sounds, but isn't there also stillness? Silence. Yes, there's movement. But there is also that which is not moving, the non-moving mind, a knowingness. So whatever is in the foreground of your awareness right now, your breath, sensations, my voice, and what is aware? There's thoughts, but there's also vastness. There's sensations, and there's also vastness, spaciousness, presence. So what you're aware of might be pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. But what is aware? And maybe when I ask the question, what is aware? Just a little shift. And then you rest right there. Something very familiar, because it's always there. It has been there yesterday, 1 month ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It was there when you were born, and even before. It's where you are most deeply yourself, beyond your name, beyond your gender, beyond thoughts, beyond stories. What is aware of all of that? You can't know it, you can't describe it, you can't touch it. And then maybe you get lost again in thoughts, or something else fills out the space. But what is the space within which everything comes and goes? Trust your intuition. Your heart knows. Your heart knows who you are. Notice the moving mind. And then follow your intuition into the non-moving mind, in the resting mind, into the still mind. And then you rest. That empty knowingness, that unfindable knowingness, is your Buddha nature. That's the Buddha within. In the nature of love. Empty. Knowing. Perceiving. It's like the mirror to which many images pass, or it's like the sky to which many clouds and birds and planes pass. It is untouched, it is pure, it is boundaryless and centerless, timeless, transpersonal. It is peace. It pervades everything, surrounds everything. And then you rest. If you get confused, what is aware of being confused? If you get frustrated or bored, what is aware? Notice with your heart, with your intuition, that which is not changing, where you're most deeply yourself, even before you were born and after you will die. It's the light of consciousness, pure consciousness. Non-dual consciousness. Yes, and then if you have your eyes closed, you take your time to open your eyes, include the sight, also what you see is an appearance within consciousness, within the same space in which your thoughts and feelings come and go. Just a moment. I need to go outside. Wow, it's so beautiful outside here. It's a clear sky with stars and cold, and I can hear the ocean. Yeah, if you have a question or a comment, you can interrupt me or write on the chat. And as I said before, if that kind of inquiry into mind itself or consciousness itself doesn't make sense at the moment, just keep on exposing yourself to that kind of self-inquiry. And let's look at the text. So we are in verse 19 of the text, and Tokme Zongpo. hundreds of years ago, wrote, even when you are famous, honored by all, and as rich as the god of wealth himself, know that success in the world is ephemeral, and don't let it go to your head. This is the practice of a bodhisattva. So Tokme Zongpo particularly here talks about our attachment to fame. But I think it makes sense to extend the exploration of attachment to other objects of attachment. As rich as the god of wealth himself. And many of us, we are a bit in that situation, like the god of wealth. So we have a lot of resources in our life. We have a lot of possessions in our life. And he points to one of the challenges attachment brings, and that is it goes into our head. What that means is there is that trap that if our life goes okay, if things are okay, that we lose the interest into our practice. So we become lazy, we become content or complacent with how our life is going. So from a point of view of a practitioner, it's actually a good thing if things are not so good, because that keeps us on our toes. And it is a common experience also when I look at people who come to the centers and explore Buddhism, explore meditation. Often the trigger of that is suffering. So Tokme Zongpo says, know that success in the world is ephemeral. And yesterday I talked about how that the pleasure aspect of attachment, so that aspect of attachment which creates struggle and problems and suffering, is that we exaggerate, that we distort through our view how we relate to the objects of our attachment. There is a distortion. And one of the distortion is that we project a certain level of permanence, of stability into the object. So there is a sense that if only I would live in a different flat, if I had a different partner, if I had a different car, if only I had a different job, if only I would live in a different city, if only I would have studied something else, if only that one problem in my life would go away, then I would be happy, because then I would come to that place where everything is fine. And that, of course, is a complete illusion, because any object, any experience is ephemeral, as Tokme Zongpo says. It will pass. So in the Buddhist cosmology, this is called samsara, this desperate seeking for a safe place, for a place of contentment forever, because it just doesn't work. This is a bit it's difficult to relax into that insight. So what is it in you right now, in your life, in these days, in these weeks, where you hope, if only this problem wouldn't be in my life, then I would be full, then I would be whole, then I would be content. So how much of our life's energy still goes into that kind of seeking? And then if you look back into your life, you can recognize you have tried and tried and tried. And maybe if you make a leap of faith into the concept of previous lives, there is that seeking, finding a safe place, which does not exist where we are usually seeking. And when our life goes well, so if things are going well and we are kind of content and happy, the problem with that is then we stop the exploration of the possibility of find the genuine peace, the genuine wholeness, the genuine happiness, because life is okay. So Tokme Zongpo here says, in times where things are quite okay, stay aware that that okayness, that happiness is ephemeral. It is based on something which will pass. That movement then away from resting in a happiness which is conditioned, to move away from that into exploring the possibility of a happiness which is unconditioned, has no cause, that movement is called renunciation. It's a turning away from the hope that happiness is found if your life is going okay. Yeah, so maybe there's a question or something you want to add.
Hello, Stephan.
Hi, Kate.
Great. How are you? This is it's not entirely a question, it's a comment. When, just before we started the meditation, or before we came on stream there, I had a little incident in my life where a particular person who has often, rather let me down before, let me down yet again, which is no surprise. I'm also aware that these things come round for us to work with. And hopefully every time they come round.
I can't hear you right now.
Something. Is that better?
Yeah, yes.
Is that better?
Yeah, yes. Your microphone, something.
Oh.
No, but it's fine now.
I was saying that these situations come round again and again, and in fact, there's a pattern of that in my life, as I'm sure there is in everybody's here. But it's dealing with that with some wisdom. So I came in, sat down to the meditation, and of course my head is going with this incident that just happened. And on top of that, I added into that, and not only that, not only has this person let me down, but now they're messing up with my meditation as well. So it's like, you know, cubed by now. And how annoying is this? I've been looking forward to this today, and now, you know, it's all, everything's ruined. And as the meditation goes on, I've meditated with you quite often. And as it went on, of course, I found the spaciousness. I did, and there was a part of me that said, well, this is here for me to work with, you know, for me to recognize, which I do recognize the difference. If I have a question, it is this, Stephan: how many times do I have to go around this cycle before I remember?
Yeah. How many times? Yeah. I'm not sure yet if we have to do it again and again. So I don't know. If it at one point will just pass through right there, you know, without creating some disturbance. It has not happened for me yet. So, and I have been full-time, heavy-duty, trying to get there. But what I appreciate, and what you also said now, we have tools, or I have tools, and you have tools. Like you said, yeah, the spaciousness happened. I mean, and that's so amazing. I mean, maybe that's good enough for now. Yeah, that that these moments happen, and we can. And I also need to return to text or practices or teaching or reminders. I mean, it would be already wonderful to come to a way of living where every day it's possible to touch that spaciousness. And maybe for many of us, that's already the case. Yeah, that we just need to bring this body into the presence of some teachers, or into the presence of some texts, and then suddenly, yeah, we remember, wow, there is also that spaciousness. There is also that which is already home, what is that which is already whole. And I guess we all will fall into periods of our life where it's very difficult. where we seem to lose that capacity or that contact with that spaciousness. But we know that it is there. I mean, how wonderful is that? I mean, if you ever in your life saw the sky, then you know it's there. And even in dark times, where you can't really embody it, where you not really can feel it, the presence of essence love, the presence of spaciousness of the, you know it's there, and you know that, and you have that deep trust that the sky will prevail, love will prevail, even if I can't feel it right now. So, okay, that's the dark night of the soul. It's part of our journey, and you recognize that. So that's already quite good, I think. I mean,
it is better than quite good. It's amazing, and
that's right.
I really really appreciate it. I would just add, after yesterday, until this incident happened, I did try to practice finding the joy in every moment. I tried to find the ray of sun to sit in, and it was absolutely fantastic. You know, it was all going so well. Whenever I remember what is it, where's the joy in this moment, and what a wonderful day I had until I didn't. But there you go.
Yes. Yeah. And in a way, I mean, then something like this disturbance happens. And in a way that is also good, because it keeps us humble. I mean, imagine, you know, you would do some meditations with Stephan Pende and some weekend, and then suddenly, boom, yeah, wow, this is easy, you know, I'm in,
I know.
yeah, so that kind of failing, and, you know, so in my life, this is very important, because otherwise, I think it would happen. What Tokme Zongpo also points to this in this verse, it goes into our head like, wow, yeah, I mean, I'm awakened or something like that. So I think for me, it's, I mean, I don't wish it to myself, but I think for me, it's good to come back to being a human again and again, and see, wow, this is, you know, to kind of not be able to handle a situation and losing my balance, apparently losing my seat. I think it's important, because then I can also appreciate the difficult journey of other people. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephan. Thank you. I'm reminded of a quote. I can't remember where it comes from. Something like, by breaking apart, we become whole, or something like that,
Yes.
which I think is what you're suggesting. And I can be quite lazy about my practice. I don't need to feel that life's going well, you know. I can be lazy about it when life's going backwards as well. So it is, yes, it's a good way of thinking about it, that when these things come along, that there's work to be done, I think. So thank you, Stephan. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I a few times in my life I fell into overestimating my level of awakening, yeah, so for a while, and then something happens, yeah, and then I mean, right now I have two mold projects here in this place, and in the place where I live in Copenhagen. And it's tough. I mean, like, just, yeah, and then when I remind myself, yeah, this is how it is. It's just one damn problem after another, and it never stops. but the opportunity I have now in this, trying to handle different projects at the same time and being challenged by that, it really is an opportunity for me to strengthen my capacity, returning to present moment awareness, returning to my trust into awake awareness. And sometimes I have a sense that somehow life brings me people and situations which are a little bit too much for me to handle. And that's good. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me deepening. It keeps deepening the need for me to insist on awake awareness, insist on my innate freedom. And maybe that's why we are here.
Could be.
To become a lover of what is, more and more radical, more and more deeply.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kate. Yes, Teresa.
Hello.
You pronounce it Teresa, your name, or?
People say it differently.
Okay.
Teresa, Teresa.
Teresa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However you want to say. So I would like to point to something that showed up for me in the meditation that has shown up before, is when I begin to deepen in, there's definitely parts of me that fear the spaciousness. The spaciousness and the nature of mind is a threat. It's like, no, because if I go there, then this part of me will be obliterated. It doesn't have as much significance and as much weight to it. And so I think today I could feel, I could sense the grip of those spaces, grabbing onto who I am or this body, or, because when I'm going there, it feels like I'm letting go of everything. I'm everything's being dropped away. So, so I think there's this practice that I was, I think I'm trying to point to or ask about, of like how to address those places. And, I think the best approach that I've found is to be really loving towards them. Because I think that they're just in fear, like those parts of me are here. But I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yes. So that that fear, so that's very common, and is something we all need to address and find a way to relate to. And maybe so one option for the source of that fear is that a very young part of us, a part of us which didn't feel safe in our psychological history, going back to birth. Yeah. So these younger parts, these vulnerable parts within us, they can come up in that kind of meditation. And I think your strategy you mentioned, to be loving there and to welcome and do some kind of what you could call inner child's work, or So that could be part of this journey. Yeah? So that which sabotage a relaxation in not knowing and into that vastness, that is actually a young part of us, which is within us in this system, in our conditioning, because something happened to us. But there's also a kind of more deeper ground anxiety or fear, which is the fear of death. And I think the way to relate to that is the same. So not taking the fear which arises, be it a fear of a younger vulnerable part within us, or a kind of a general anxiety, fear of the narrative self, the kind of the fear of the ego, you could say. I think in both cases, the remedy or the way to respond to that is to keep on staying in that place and meeting that fear, that energy of fear, breathing with it. What is aware of the fear? Making a backward step also there. What is aware of that? That which is aware of the fear is not afraid. You are not that fear. You are that which is aware of that fear, which knows the fear. This is a very common question. It's so many people ask me this, so many people. Because somehow, some people, when they meditate with me or with other teachers, they have that beginning of that intuition of that spaciousness, of that vastness. And then something shrinks, something contracts from that. Wants to keep things together, wants to identify again with the content of our experience. So part of our part of what is necessary here is to cultivate a willingness to stay in that space and not see it as a sign, oh, I stopped that kind of meditation, it's too scary. I've heard also Lama Zopa pointing to that. A few times I heard him saying how in the meditation on emptiness, when fear arises, when a contraction arises, that's a good sign. So we shouldn't see it as a symptom for I'm doing something wrong or I shouldn't do this, but rather see, yeah, wow, I'm actually looking, something is happening here. I'm on the right track because there is that fear, that anxiety, this yeah, wanting to come back to the body, wanting to come back to the familiarity of your conditioning. Yeah. And on the other hand, there is probably also, so there's the fear response to that openness, to that vastness, or Pema Chodron calls it groundlessness. It's a sense of groundlessness. I described it also a few sessions back. I said that our practice brings us to a cliff. And in this kind of meditation, when we meditate on emptiness, on the nature of mind, that's the moment where we slip into the groundlessness. Yeah, you said there's a sense I need to let go of everything. Yeah, soon this body is going to die, and then we need to let go of everything we think we are. So this kind of meditation on the nature of mind is a bit of preparing ourselves for the death process, where we don't have any choice, because everything which we think we are will dissolve in the death process. And in meditation, in this kind of meditation, we prepare ourselves. We go a bit through that process of the ego death. And that's scary for the ego. It's not scary for what you are. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think Anne wanted to ask something. I saw you put your hand up.
Yes. I was just wondering, because you were talking about that our motivation can go down when things go well, but I feel for me that my motivation to meditate and to really dedicate is very, very high. But I very easily slip into being too striving. And then I have attachment and aversions also in my meditation. And I've actually tried to counter that. So I don't try to extend my I do shorter meditations and just having half an hour per day, and then doing together with people. So it's more the playful, and also trying not to progress in my meditation, like not saying that it's actually good as it is, and I don't have to become better or improve in any way, and not go on too many retreats. But I was just wondering, maybe also your perspective on that, on how to deal with the striving, because I very easily go into becoming goal-oriented and striving, and
Yeah, that's also an interesting question. One part of it is the possibility to be curious about the striving. Where do you feel it in the body? So, or becoming curious about resistance. Where is it in the body? So what you're aware of loses its power and implies that there is something which is aware of striving. Yeah. So what is that? I'm no, I think sometimes sometimes in periods when I teach, I have also more the tendency to point to the difficulty of that kind of spiritual striving, the spiritual seeking. So, and of course, it can create problems. And if we are too goal-oriented, and then we can feel that. And it seems that you felt that there's too much goal orientation in my practice, and it sabotages my meditation. But on the other hand, there is also something precious, healthy kind of yearning or seeking. Like a yearning for wholeness, a yearning for healing, a yearning for really embody awakening. Bodhichitta, yeah. So the yearning of bodhichitta, and I think there's, in this teaching, when I would say, or other people say, the seeking is the problem, the having the goal for awakening is the problem, and it's important to let go of that. I'm not sure, because the yearning for that wholeness, that yearning for love, it's something beautiful and precious, and it will cease once we found. So some people, they would say, yeah, but we are already all awakened, we are already one. But they don't live it, they don't embody it. It's just an idea. It's not an experience. So I want to nurture within myself that trust and that longing, that yearning, but without, when that yearning and longing for wholeness, for coming home, brings me to the meditation session, then I want to let go of it and just be there. Yeah, something like that. Finding a healthy balance somehow, and the middle way. Yeah, but knowing you a little, and I think less goal-oriented would be, in general, like an addition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some people, I mean, that wouldn't be the case for you, but some people need also a bit of a kick in the ass, or some inspiration to intensify their practice, or yeah, some kind of healthy pressure or discipline, but which doesn't. Yeah, it's difficult what I want to say, but it's like a balance.
Mm.
You find that in the different stages of the teachings, you find that, yeah. So there's a lot of teachings on the progressive path, developing, working on it. And then there's the teachings, in the Mahamudra and Dzogchen, yeah, relax, baby, it's good enough. It's all here. It's just a matter of recognizing that. So, and in my life, I have like, it goes like, I have periods where it's time to kind of, okay, it's all here. And then there's times in my life where the progressive working with stuff, taking responsibility is more important. And it comes in seasons. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Kate, do you still have your question? Kate's been waiting very patiently, and I noticed you put your hand down. Kate Norton.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough time to answer this question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? What's that?
Yes, I think.
Okay. And I apologize if it's a confusing question, but that which is aware seems only to be aware of what the body senses. And so I'm quite comfortable with the idea that like senses is not that which is aware. I'm not that comfortable with that which is aware, but I can differentiate and feel it, right? But shouldn't that which is aware be aware of more than just what the body senses? And then the follow-up question is, and if so, is the end result of opening up whatever that is due to some kind of attachment to only being aware of body senses or wanting to be aware of body senses, and that like a more actualized broad awareness is aware of more than just a body? And I'm legitimately, it's a question. I'm
Yeah. Yeah. So that is a interesting inquiry question to ask in one's meditation. That which is aware of the sounds right now, yeah, of my voice. So when what I'm saying right now is being known. Yeah, so I mean, if nobody would be here and I would just sit in front of this computer and I would say the same words, it would be the same words, but they wouldn't be known, they wouldn't be perceived, there wouldn't be an awareness of these words. But right now, there's an awareness of these words. So that awareness, that perceiving, that capacity of perceiving these words, is that a different capacity than the one who is aware of the sensations in your body? Yeah. So that's the question. And it's a kind of open-ended question, and it's not a question to think about it. It's like you just, you know, like, okay, so you're sitting by yourself, maybe in your meditation, and you listen to the sounds around you. Maybe you have all sounds around you right now, I guess. Something is happening in you, around you. So, and the question, the self-inquiry question would be then, and since you asked the question, that's good, because there's some curiosity there. Yeah, so, and that's important. Like, one needs to have some passion there, like really asking that question. Okay, so that which is aware of the sounds, is that different than that which is aware of the sensations in my body? Do they happen in two kind of different places, like two different rooms, the sensations and the body and the sounds? And then one can add also the thoughts you have right now. Do they happen in a different space? And the kind of, the important thing in that kind of self-inquiry question is not to try to look into a book on neuropsychology or philosophy or something, but just to look with a curiosity. And
if I don't mean to interrupt, and it's totally rude to do that, but if I could direct a little bit of your answer towards what you had said prior, because I think it's actually starting to answer it, which is there is a different type of awareness that is understanding what you're talking about, that transcends all of this sound, because something is forming an understanding, and that understanding is not sense, right? That understanding is something deeper. But I don't have your understanding directly. And I don't know everybody's understanding. Everybody's got their own understanding, but it doesn't feel like it should be that way. Why is my understanding limited to something I'm calling my understanding? when it
Yeah.
shouldn't, when like the my doesn't exist, but I can't access your understanding without like hearing you.
Mhm. What we are looking for right now is, we are not looking for the content of that understanding. We are looking of that which can be aware of any kind of understanding. I have a certain understanding and I have certain philosophical views and certain words, and you have a different experience right now and you understand or you don't understand what is being said. What we are inquiring here is the reflective capacity of having an understanding. What is, independent of what the understanding is, what is that reflective capacity? So like using the image again of a mirror and the mirror images. So understanding, sentences, words, sensations, all of that are mirror images. So this question of what is aware is supposed to trigger in a curiosity towards the capacity of the mirror to mirror something. And that capacity is the same in me and in you. That's not different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The challenge here is that, because usually what we understand with knowing is that we can describe it, that we can make words around it. But this question points to something which our conceptual mind can't understand. Because understanding on that level would be an image in the mirror and not the capacity. So it's a different kind of knowing. And it's so different that sometimes it's called not knowing. The not knowing mind. I know it's very frustrating. And there's no trick. There is no trick. We can just do what we're doing now, staying in this. It's unpleasant. Yeah, it's I call it cognitive dissonance. it's like it's unpleasant. But I would recommend to go to this place where we are right now, yeah, again and again and again, and doing all the progressive path Lam Rim stuff, and merits and purification and guru devotion and Lam Rim and all of that, and returning to this space again and again, and then at one point. And I can't say when that is, nobody can say. At one point, suddenly, what we are sharing here will be so obvious. It's so obvious. And it's the same words, the same pointers, but suddenly it clicks. Okay. Was there some question? Just some links. Okay, so let's take a moment to feel our confusion and frustration maybe, or a sense of openness. Being together here, but we can widen that circle of togetherness to all the people right now with us who's sitting in the presence of the divine, sitting with that not knowing. Some of the people who are sitting with that knowing, right, with that not knowing in the presence of the divine, they are in joy and in happiness, and many of the people are in despair and fear and grief. And we are also all as the human family, we are in this together. And it is very simple. All of that is surrounded and pervaded by essence love. And your heart knows. And your conceptual mind might come up with all the buts and why, but there is also something which already is home. Awake awareness is already here. That's what every tradition shares with us. There's only spirit, there's only consciousness. And then in our heart, we can reach out into our life, into our surroundings, in particular those people who are apparently lost in their own conditioning. And may they all wake up. Into their true nature. May human consciousness develop into this next necessary evolutionary step, to wake up into essence love. That's our hope. That we are one, to recognize that. That we are one and that this earth is our body. May all beings be happy. May all beings come home. And may people everywhere look after each other. Also the animals. Okay. Thank you very much. Be well. And I hope to see you next month. And then we will go into the next first word, which is about anger, transforming anger. So that's probably interesting for all of us. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Stephan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Danke, danke.
Thank you.